consensus to action. See, for example, we have the bridging or maybe one way to connect between consensus in the program is work through the agenda in SDGs. No poverty, no hunger, inequality, climate change, and so on. From that thing, I think we can develop policies that really require action in the field. This is my proposal in the last slide. About South-South, it is any relationship between increasing Indonesian scientists publishing in Indonesian Indian journals? Well, as far as I know, there is no what do you call MOU or something, but the government in Indonesia push very hard with incentive if we publish in a journal that has a high quality index. That's it. This is a kind of creativity, if you want to call it. As far as maybe there is a ambassador and ambassador, but as far as I know, maybe not. Yeah. The last question is, what is the roles models of Indonesia that could be learned from India? In terms of agriculture, we under the new technological change, and especially on water saving technology, labor saving technology, we now are developing what we call it land consolidation management, or whatever the name. Actually, the land is not consolidated, the ownership is still there, but co-management kind of thing. Say, for example, you have tractors, if this was very small, and there is a border between one land to the other ownership. Now we're removing the borders. So small tractors can go, this kind of thing, land consolidated management, which is very good. Of course, we have contract farming. In India, I believe you have contract farming with Walmart and some other thing. In the last one, we have some type of flexibility. See, for example, supermarket cannot accept the products because of the quality. There is kind of a second-hand market as long as there is something, and they're still working. Of course, the price is lower anyway, but the quality is still there, so there is some access, some demand for that. I think this kind of thing, as long as it's still maintaining the food safety standard, I believe still okay. So this kind of thing, I think we could work together more easily. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have 3 minutes to wrap up the words of wisdom from 3 excellent speakers. I think much of the questions concentrated on 3 aspects: the land issues, the water issues, and the value chains. The land issue, unfortunately, we did not discuss the degradation of land, but there was a lot of talk on small holdings. How do we deal with that? Why that is critical for us? Because the way economies are emerging, India, Indonesia, the bottom end, that is the farmer side, is still fragmenting. Average holding size is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. The latest is 1.08 is the holding size of India, 1.08 hectare. Sir, with all the due respect, it's about 87% of farmers who are less than 2 hectares, not 1 hectare. That's called the small and the marginal. That's the latest survey. So question is, how do they do business with Walmarts? That's the issue, because the top end in the value chain is becoming large and larger and larger. And the bottom end of the value chain is becoming small and smaller and smaller. So it requires real innovation. How do these big players do business with the pygmies, and still it makes the sense for the pygmies as well as for the dinosaurs? Sorry. And I think that's where the real innovative skills are tested, because we want efficiency, big investments in the value chain, that is what will bring in efficiency. But the institutional changes, that will make the small holders become some aggregators, small economically viable holding sizes, whether we do consolidation or whether we free up the land lease markets. China I've been tracking for some time, has an average holding size of 0.6 hectare. And they produce more than double of our cereal output, more than 4 times our fruits and vegetables, and more than 8 times meat. How do they do it? And they have freed up the land lease market for 30 years they can give to any corporation. I think our debate on land lease markets, we have to revisit that. My take, I've been writing for 20 years on this, we have to free up. Informally, tenancy is very much there. The government data shows only 10%. Informally, all the micro surveys are showing at least 30% of tenancy is there. Why don't we legalize those? So that's the land part of the story. If I had time, I could have gone into the land degradation, but water is very, very critical. I think the biggest constraint, if at all, is going to come to agriculture, especially in India, is going to be on water issue. Gayatri, correct me if sugarcane and rice, they take more than 60% of irrigation water in India. These just 2 crops. If we can fix these 2 crops, then I think we have sorted out India's water problem in agriculture. To start with, just give you an example, in Maharashtra, sugarcane, which is only on 4% of the area of Maharashtra, 4% of gross cropped area takes away 2/3 of irrigation water of the state. 2/3. That should be compulsorily under drip. You can save 50% water right there. But it requires investments. So somebody has to, if you don't price water properly, you can't control. Second is rice. Punjab, where the water table is going down. 7-8 years, experiments have been going on. Drip irrigation in rice. Drip irrigation in horticulture is known. Drip irrigation in Maharashtra's sugarcane today, 20% area is under drip. But in rice, nobody has heard. 7-8 years, the results are now published. More than 60% of irrigation water in rice can be saved if we go for drip. But why the Punjab farmer will go for drip if everything is free? So he says, okay, drip lagani hai, wo bhi free laga do. So there are, you can't escape pricing. The problem is our political masters and our decision makers want to give everything free. Now that doesn't serve the purpose. They are realizing that is leading to major distortions in the system. So that's, technologies are there in water, it can be tackled, but there is a role of pricing mechanism that needs to be put in place. The third and the last is the whole value chain concept. I think it is with institutional changes, with investments. These are the 2 things which can make the whole value chain much more efficient. And that is where what you are saying is it will bring dividends to all stakeholders in the game. It can bring even to the retailers. But since head-on in this country particularly, the debate has been on this question of mom and pop stores versus the big box stores, I think e-commerce is actually bypassing that debate and going directly through the e-retail. Whether that will be a model that we can do, or we can innovate and bring these Ashok Gulati's pop store also as a part of the kiosk retail as an arm of the big box stores. I think this is where not only efficiency but inclusiveness of the system, because the pace of spread will depend on not just efficiency but also how far the society feels comfortable in making it inclusive. Only then the system will be much more sustainable. That's what my take on that is. The question that you posed me directly, Europe may, on editing, gene editing question, Europe may stop it. Every country, every region is free to do that. Science will not stop. Science will go on. This is human quest. And gene editing, and they will do all sorts of permutation combinations. All such major forays into new science were opposed by different governments, different societies. But the human evolution is going to be much more scientific. I, for one, would definitely support this. This is a new vistas opening. What in 3,000 years research we did, we are going to do it in the next 30 or 100 years. That's what my feeling is. We are going to be, our next generation is going to be a totally different, it's a structural break coming in science, and we are going to be on a much different plane altogether. Thank you very much.
I thank all the panelists for an absolutely fantastic session. So now we proceed for lunch, and we'll resume at 1:30 p.m. And when we resume, we'll have our final session of this conference where we'll have views from the current and upcoming presidencies. See you all there. Thank you.